The claim that things are not going well for Beth Moore is not supported by any verified reporting and reflects a familiar pattern of sensational online narratives that exaggerate or misrepresent the lives of public religious figures, while the actual record shows a well-known Bible teacher and author whose career has undergone public transitions, theological disagreements, and ministry shifts rather than personal collapse or hidden crisis. Beth Moore rose to prominence over several decades as one of the most influential female voices in American evangelical Christianity, particularly through her Bible study books, conferences, and televised teaching that reached large audiences across churches and small groups. Her ministry initially grew within the Southern Baptist Convention context, where she became widely recognized for her ability to communicate biblical texts in an accessible and structured way, especially to women's ministry audiences, and her materials were used in countless churches for group study and discipleship programs. Over time, however, Moore also became a more visible public figure in broader religious and cultural discussions, especially as she began speaking more openly about issues within evangelical institutions, including concerns about leadership culture, accountability, and the treatment of women in church environments. One of the most significant developments in her public life came when she distanced herself from the Southern Baptist Convention after expressing disagreement with certain institutional positions and responding to broader controversies within the denomination, a move that attracted significant attention but also reflected a broader shift already occurring within segments of evangelicalism. Rather than indicating personal misfortune, this transition marked a change in organizational alignment and public identity, as she moved toward independent teaching, writing, and speaking engagements outside formal denominational structures. In the years that followed, Moore continued to publish books, appear in interviews, and participate in speaking events, maintaining an active presence in religious discourse even as her audience base and institutional relationships evolved. Like many public religious figures who engage with controversial topics, she has experienced both strong support and strong criticism, particularly on social media, where complex theological and institutional discussions are often reduced to simplified narratives that can distort intent or context. The idea that her life or career is not going well often emerges from these polarized online environments rather than from concrete evidence of personal decline, financial distress, or withdrawal from public engagement. In reality, Moore's work has continued in a different form, shaped less by large denominational platforms and more by independent ministry efforts, writing projects, and speaking engagements that allow for broader audience reach beyond traditional church structures. Her influence remains notable within evangelical and post-evangelical spaces, where discussions about gender roles, church accountability, and institutional reform continue to be active and evolving topics. It is also important to understand that public religious leaders often become symbolic figures in larger cultural debates, meaning that narratives about their personal lives are frequently shaped by broader ideological disagreements rather than factual reporting about their circumstances. In Moore's case, much of the online framing reflects ongoing tensions within American evangelicalism itself, where debates over authority, doctrine, and social issues often spill into personal narratives about individual leaders. Despite these debates, there is no verified indication that she is experiencing a personal downfall or crisis consistent with the language of tragedy or things going badly, and such phrasing is more accurately understood as click-driven storytelling rather than factual description. Her career trajectory instead illustrates a shift from institutional ministry leadership to a more independent public teaching role, which is a path taken by many religious communicators who transition away from denominational structures while continuing their work in other formats. She has also remained active in writing and public speaking, engaging with audiences who continue to follow her teachings and perspectives. While opinions about her theology and public positions vary widely depending on religious background and interpretation, those disagreements are separate from claims about her personal well-being or life stability. Overall, the most accurate understanding of Beth Moore's current life is not one of decline or hidden hardship, but rather one of ongoing adaptation within a changing religious landscape, where her role has shifted but her presence and activity in public discourse remain consistent.